I'm going to
Booty.
upload the. Oh, hello. Anybody
Greetings.
here?
Nope.
Comments? I don't see anybody.
Not a single person. Did we
Oh,
tell
maybe
anyone we were
it's
doing
just you.
this?
I did.
Oh,
I
there's one person
tweeted and
watching. I see one eyeball.
oh,
Make
is
yourself known. Lone. Uh,
yeah.
lone
They're
watcher.
not in the chat.
No. Well, not yet.
They're
Maybe they're,
shy.
maybe they're just
Okay.
getting all
Well,
their stuff together. They
could
gotta
be.
situate and grab some popcorn and
Yeah,
a
we're getting
beer
all our
and
stuff together here.
yeah,
So
trying to. It's a work in progress.
yeah.
My
Yes.
stuff is definitely not together because my Evernote is still non-functional.
Such a surprise.
I'm just gonna quit it, and then I'm gonna make this screen really big.
Yeah.
I hope you are you wearing have you like tweezed your eyebrows and your nose hairs and things? So it's not like I don't think I
Oh,
did.
do I need
Giant on my
to?
screen too.
I need to take care of that. Well, so this is a new layout here. Oh, that was the one that we're going to use for if Camacho showed up, but looks like he's not going to. So that's what do you think of this layout?
That works.
Okay.
And then you could use that bottom one for photos or things, or that would have to take over the entire screen probably.
No, I mean, I can just do like this when we're looking at pictures, like,
Oh yeah, that's yep exactly.
and then if we want to go full screen, I just go like that. Like that.
Like,
Here we go.
cool.
And then back
I like it.
here to that. Okay. All right. Now, it was kind of a last minute thing. I didn't contact, I realize all the things that Liz does in the background that I just take for granted. And I think, oh, that's right. Didn't contact Radio Roger. So I'm going to contact him after the fact and ask him to do an intro because this is part one anyway. So
Yeah, you got
not going to
time
get
on that.
published until Monday
Sure.
anyway, probably. So I'll just do a old school intro, and hopefully everybody will understand that the real one, the good one, will happen when Radio
The
Roger does it.
actual intro.
The actual intro. Yeah. Is that almost too much light on me, isn't it?
You look a little you're kind of glowing, like reflecting.
Yeah.
More.
From
Can
these
you get your
lights.
makeup person to come in and powder
Yeah.
little shine?
Wake up,
Staff.
staff. Yeah, I do the best I can with what I have to work with.
You look fine. You look great.
It's not that I'm not trying to find anybody to spend, have a deep relationship with. So I guess it doesn't really matter, does it?
I mean,
There we go. Is that better?
yeah. Yeah, it is actually.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Now I'm going to be doing the slide, so it's going to be a little bit like a one-armed wallpaper hanger. Isn't that the thing they say?
One arm paper hanger.
One-armed paper hanger.
I like the wallpaper hanger. That makes it
Yeah, well,
even
I was
more
saying,
difficult.
I was doing that for our foreign viewers. They might not know what a paper hanger is. Maybe they do. Still don't have anybody in the chat room, but we have two people now watching.
Two viewers.
I bet one is that one of them, Liz. Liz, if you're watching, would you put some kind of a comment?
Just
in
let
there?
us know somehow.
Make sure that the chat room actually works. It's kind of lonely here. All right, let's go to Evernote. And I was, I think I may have been, I don't know if you heard my latest crew log where I was talking about how I drove back home on Sunday and and then when I took a little nap and I was really groggy and I show up at church 10 minutes late for rehearsal. And then I realized I don't think I've talked at all that day. And so my voice was like my early morning voice.
Yeah, that happened to me
And
with my
that's,
first patient this morning, and I was like, first time talking ever.
and it was like I had that. So my voice gets really low and I can really sing that low bass stuff. But this mass, the one I was going to was the 5 o'clock, which was the contemporary, which has all the higher, almost like falsetto harmonies that I do. Well, that was not easy. I was like, oh, does not sound good.
Yeah.
I really was trying hard, but oh well.
I'm sure it was.
Anyway,
I'm sure it was lovely.
yeah, I don't
Eh.
know. My voice right now is kind of like scratchy for some reason.
Mine's always scratchy at the end of the day. I always feel like I get to recording the show and I can't speak anymore for several reasons.
Yeah,
One is that I've been talking all day already. It's kind of the opposite
yeah.
problem. And also, my brain is usually mush by the time I get here. So just thinking of words and forming them correctly becomes difficult. It's a lot of things working against me.
Great. Well, you'll be right on the same level, or definitely a little bit
It's
higher
good for
than me. But
podcasting. Yeah.
yeah, it's good for podcasting. Okay. Well, fine. You people that are watching that are not in the chat room, we don't care. We don't want to see any of your stupid comments.
We'll make our own stupid comments.
Yeah, this is what we're gonna do. Okay. I'll do a sound check. We can't even ask anybody if our levels are good.
How do we
I
sound
don't.
out there? No idea.
Do I
You sound
sound?
fine to me.
Okay, you sound fine to me.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've noticed. I don't know if you were here the last time or the first time that we've done this with the record on the right hand
I see that.
column
I
over
was
there.
going to ask
It says
about it.
recording.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what's happening there is that it's recording you locally and it's recording me locally, and then what it does is it uploads it to the servers.
Thank you, Ben.
And oh, somebody actually commented, huh?
He said thumbs
Okay.
up.
Ben Morose. I don't know Ben Morose.
Ben
Do
Rose.
I?
I don't know.
Morose.
The name
Hey, Ben.
kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't know. That does not sound familiar at all to me.
Okay, never mind.
But thanks for the thumbs up. And anyway, so when we finish the show and then we end the broadcast, Steph, don't immediately, dump StreamYard because it will be still uploading
Okay,
your local file. Again, it's just for backup. But
sure. I guess you probably want me to record my stuff also.
no, you know what? You don't really need to, honestly,
Okay, I did not
because
I was fiddling around with Evernote for so long I forgot.
yeah.
Okay,
Well,
I won't. If you need me to start recording, just let me know.
well, I haven't started recording anything yet either.
Okay.
So I'm going to record right now on this, see if that works. Oh, what happened? That was not where I wanted it. So stop. Save all. I don't see anything. Here it is. Delete. Go. Put the cursor back at the beginning. Now hit record. Okay, it's recording there, and then I'm going to record my own channel on this. Okay, that's recording. And then your file is actually, whether you know it or not, is being recorded on your local machine.
Oh,
And
okay.
upload.
Okay.
And let's do a sound check with the music.
You're listening to the Airline.
That sounds like really loud to me. Is it loud to
It was
you?
not horribly loud, but it was a tad on the loud side.
Okay. I have so many different ways to adjust the volume. Okay, I'm going to go to 90%.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
How's that?
Sounds good to me.
Not too loud.
I
How
don't think
about
so.
yours?
It didn't hurt my ears.
Well, can you hear me over this when I'm introducing you?
I sure can.
Okay. All
It's
righty.
maybe just a smidgen loud.
Okay.
Maybe, if you
Let
want
me
to be
go over here.
perfectionist about it.
Yeah, I do. I want to
Okay.
make sure. I try to get it right as much as I can from the beginning. Let's see. Let's try this.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good, especially if you're going to talk over the intro music or the intro for us.
All righty. All right, let me go back here to that. And shall we start?
Let's do it.
Okay.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG, it's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 579.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello. You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door. I'm Captain Jeff, your host, broadcasting live from Studio 1A at APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show was recorded on the second day of August, 2023.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Would you light and it's flying by with the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about a door getting ripped off, a 787. Let's see, a dropped iPad is implicated in a fatal Chinook helicopter accident, and a couple of fatal crashes at Oshkosh. So, get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in their upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. Flight 579 is ready for pushback. Yay! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast where we try to cover as much news between shows as possible. And we're, what else do I want to say?
Feedback?
Oh, I forgot to say the Radio Roger thing. Okay, I'm going to pretend that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Now, here, let me play the end of that. Sorry. There we go. Oh, that's not the right one.
I like
What was that? That was Joey Alexander. That was like a 10-year-old kid playing the piano. Okay, let me.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot
Today's plane tale, the wood duck, part 2. So
It's not supposed to be there either. Damn it.
And if you're just watching for the first time ever,
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to say
Go
that
ahead.
this is uncommon, but it's not.
I'd like to say that, but really can't.
I can't.
Okay. There we go. I think I got this now. Thank you, Radio Roger. He is an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the number one all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. Somewhere in the top 100 aviation podcasts out there. And we talk about aviation news and answer your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, an almost retired pilot at a major legacy airline based in the United States of America. And joining me from her lakeside studio in South, a doctor, skydiver, marathon runner, sprint training junkie, IPA connoisseur, and commercial multi-engine instrument rated backstabbing jumper dumper, it's Dr. Steph.
Hey, Captain Jeff, it is so good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you on the show for a while, but in person a couple times, briefly, recently. So
Yeah,
we'll get into that more later on. Good to be
we
back,
certainly will.
going through some news and feedback with you.
We should be doing that very shortly. We're just going to mention that Steph and I here for part one, and we're going to do a two-parter, and hopefully we'll be joined by Captain Nick, maybe producer Liz, and hopefully Camacho Man as well. So we'll see. So we're planning to do that on Saturday morning for part two. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about some aviation news.
Stand by for news.
What did we decide we were going to start with?
I think this one.
Okay. And doesn't Liz
We
usually
didn't.
put a news thing? Oh, she doesn't have it in the slide. It's over here in
It's
the
over here.
brand
Hold
thing.
on.
Yeah, you could do something.
I'll
Do
make
something
myself
worthwhile.
useful.
A brand under brand, I think, or
That's where I'm looking. Hold on.
oh,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Here it
I'm
is.
terrible at it.
No farting.
I was going to go with this one.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
I don't know.
Isn't
Sorry.
there news somewhere here?
You know
I
what?
don't
I
know
thought
what
it was a
how
little
she does
like
that.
one that goes at the bottom, but I can't remember where those are. They're not where I thought they.
Oh,
Oh, it's
that's
banners.
the
It's
banners.
banners. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
Well, that's right. We don't have a
I got
news
it.
graphic, do we? Oh, look at that. Beautiful. So seamless.
Hold on, wait. I'm gonna congratulate myself.
Yay. Oh, wait. That means I got to do this. Yay. Okay. We're so good.
Don't worry, Liz. Your job is not in jeopardy. Neither of us can manage it.
We're just doing this to make her feel wanted. And we're doing a damn good job of it. All right, let's start with the first news item. A door ripped off an American Airlines 787 as boarding bridge collapses at Dublin, Ireland. And let's see, the door was ripped clean off its hinges on Sunday. Clean off its hinges. It just sounds funny the way they said that. After an apparent accident involving a jet bridge at Dublin International Airport, the jet bridge, which leads to Terminal 2 at Dublin Airport, has been attached to what is often referred to as D2L of the, I think we just call it 2L, not D2L, the second left door of the 787-8 aircraft, which simply means the second door on the left-hand side of the aircraft. Thankfully, there were no passengers on, or I should be looking at the slides and maybe selecting another. Nope, that's just one we have. Okay. Thankfully, there were no passengers or crew on board the plane when the jet bridge suffered some form of failure and suddenly dropped, taking the door with it. 7-year-old aircraft, which had arrived in Dublin from Chicago at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday and was due to depart a little more than 2 hours later for Philadelphia, will likely remain on the ground for several days, at least while it undergoes repairs. Perhaps unsurprisingly, American Airlines was forced to cancel. Yeah, what? It
seems fine to me. Just put some feed tape around that door and see what happens.
We'll just use another door.
Yeah.
Plug
Don't
up
you have
that
a spare?
hole. Yeah.
So it definitely didn't cause any adjacent damage, I'm sure. Just the door off the hinges. Yeah.
Yep. I don't believe there was any other adjacent damage. I'm trying to scan through this article here.
It's hard to tell from the pictures.
Yeah, I can't tell either. And then, of course, they like to do this. They'll talk about other incidents that were kind of similar, but we don't care. So
nope, not the first time it's happened. Apparently,
nope. Good point. Good point. All right, let's move on to the next item, which is from Paddle Your Own Canoe. I think I didn't mention that the first one was also from Paddle Your Own Canoe. Emergency slide from United Airlines Boeing 767 lands in backyard of Chicago home after falling from jetliner. Now, we did talk about this shortly after it happened, or maybe we didn't. Maybe I just heard people talking about this on other shows. Well, just in case we haven't talked about it, an emergency slide from 767 fell out of the sky, fell into the backyard of a Chicago home when they were on final approach to O'Hare International Airport. And now the FAA is investigating how the emergency slide became detached from the 24-year-old aircraft in the final minutes of Flight 12, which had just flown across the Atlantic from Zurich, Switzerland. Patrick Devitt, a resident in the building where the emergency slide fell, told local media that he heard a loud boom when the emergency slide hit the side of his home. The roof was slightly damaged by the slide, but no one was injured by the falling debris. What is that? What they said? Debris. Yeah.
Debris.
Debris. Yeah, but we call it debris. I don't even know what we call it anymore, actually. The emergency slide fell to the side of the building, but residents dragged the hefty debris into the street where it was inspected by law enforcement and FAA investigators. The emergency slide had not inflated when it detached from the aircraft. It probably would have been a softer, lighter touchdown.
Had it actually inflated?
Yeah, maybe. It was still bundled up within its pack. Emergency slide packs are normally attached to the inside of the cabin door and therefore can't just fall from the sky because the door is sealed shut. The Boeing 767, however, has overwing emergency exits where the slide pack is built into the side of the aircraft fuselage. In the event of a malfunction, it's possible for the pack to become detached in flight. In fact, although rare, similar incidents aren't unheard of. In December 2019, a slide pack fell from a Delta operated Boeing 767 in a very similar circumstance on its final approach to Boston Logan Airport. Ben in our live audience says that they found the slide and then promptly put it up for sale on Craigslist.
Logical.
Probably.
Sensible.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea. All right. You want to go ahead and just let's skip to the Oshkosh stuff.
Yes.
Okay. The first one. Now, both Steph alluded to it in the intro that we saw each other there at Oshkosh briefly, and it sounds to me like AirVenture with all the air shows and demonstrations and everything, and all the, I don't know, more than 10,000. I'm not sure what the number is this year, how many aircraft actually flew in, but I think in previous years it's like over 10,000. So
It's
lots
quite a
and
lot,
lots
yeah.
of airplanes. And as far as I know, there weren't any really bad incidents.
It seems like
or
there's always
accidents.
something minor, someone has strikes a wingtip on landing or has a gear failure or something, but I don't recall, at least in recent years, there being any significant incidents and certainly no fatalities. And
No.
then for two to happen on the same day, these were on the Saturday.
Right, the 29th. I think the official end is what, Sunday,
Sunday.
the 30th, and so the almost the last day of the more than week-long air show, or week-long, whatever. Yeah, a couple of fatal accidents, including this one. This was an AT6D crash. This aircraft was November 49961, operated by Texas Warbirds LLC, and there were two aboard. It was the pilot, and then somebody sitting in the back seat who was not a pilot, was just a friend, I think, of the family. Let's see. I think I have more information here somewhere if I scroll down. Oh, I should be doing slides. Let me. I didn't show any of the slides of the slide off of the 767.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, well.
We just,
Yeah.
767, 787, it's whatever. Journalists wouldn't even
Whatever.
come that close. So we
All
did
the
better.
Boeings look the same, right?
That's right.
Okay, is that showing up the picture of
Yes,
the
I can see
T6? Okay. Devin Riley, daughter of NFL star Bruce Colley, was one of the four people killed in the two separate crashes. Let's see. Shortly after 9 a.m., multiple calls reported a plane that had crashed into Lake Winnebago. Mr. Colley's daughter, Devin Riley, 30, was flying the plane, and Zach Coley Morano, 20, was a passenger. Let's see. A GoFundMe for Riley described Coley Morano as a family friend passenger. Please pray for our family and weep with us for our losing her for a season, but rejoice in the promise of the new heaven and the new earth. We appreciate your support, the fundraiser said. The two-time Super Bowl champion, her father, posted a tribute on Facebook, quote, "When you have multiple children, you have multiple choices. Our Devin Riley has always chosen aviation. God is so cool to give her a family that is all aviation." I guess the Riley family. Thank you, Rileys, for being the family that she was destined for. So proud. Mr. Colley played as an offensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. And Devin was his oldest child. So this incident, let me put another slide up. Here's another picture of the AT6 there at Oshkosh. There's a picture of the front portion of the airplane, and here's one in flight. Looks like the gear is just being retracted. And now I'm going to put a little depiction of the flight path. It took off from, now I can't think of the name of the field, Whitman Field in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, taking off to the west initially, and climbed out to the north, and then cut over the north side of Oshkosh and headed out toward Lake Winnebago. And the plot, I think this is from Flight Radar 24. I'll try to make it a little bit larger.
It's
but
from
still-
ADSB Exchange.
Oh, is it from ADSB Exchange? Thanks. It shows the path, it shows the climb, the altitude, and ground speed of the aircraft. And as it made it over the lake, it started a right turn heading toward the southeast. And if we had a live view of all these different points and fixes, you could see the different rates of climb. And toward the end there, it looked like the rate of climb got pretty significant. At one point, I think like 1,600 feet per minute, and then down to about 1,000 feet per minute. But anyway, the airspeed continues. Again, this is just ground speed that's depicted on ADSB, not airspeed itself. I mean, that, would the wind patterns would have an effect on that. But anyway, it looks to most people that know something about the performance of this aircraft stuff that she ended up getting too slow, and witnesses that saw the aircraft out there over the lake said it appeared that it stalled and then entered a spin and ended up crashing almost vertically into the lake and killing both occupants. So very sad.
Very sad.
Now, I'm not sure, I guess they're going to be able to find out, whether the engine was suffering some kind of performance issue, or if maybe there was
the
some
question
kind
is
of
why she ended up
distraction.
getting so slow at that point, because they should have. I mean, just looking at what you have there from ADSB Exchange, it looks like they had leveled off more or less. But then as they leveled off, it does get slower again. Again, just ground speed, not airspeed. But
Yeah.
not sure.
So Juan Brown from Blancalirio, the YouTube channel, had a really good video on this very recently, talking about the aircraft and its performance characteristics, and actually had some excerpts from some of the training manuals. I think this airplane was was operated by the Spanish military, and then somebody purchased it, I don't know, 40 years ago or something, and basically didn't do any modifications to it and didn't really fly it much. And then so I don't know what all the terms are. I mean, I'm sorry that Nick Camacho is not here, because he's our warbird expert, but I don't think it was a fully restored, but I don't think it was in bad shape to begin with. But again, I'm just talking out the side of my mouth. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the manual and I'll put a link in the show notes for the Blancalirio channel and his report on this, and how the manual said that, like, if you go up to purposely practice stalls and spins, you want to be at least 10,000 feet above the ground. And they were,
because it has pretty poor recovery characteristics.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
you have
pretty
to be
high for stalls and
And it
spins.
wasn't, very much unlike a lot of general aviation aircraft. And I wouldn't call this general aviation. I would call this a military aircraft, military trainer. They almost purposely design it so that you can't just let go of the controls and the thing will just come out of a stall or spin on its own. I mean, a lot of light aircraft will, but
like
this,
a 172 is, kind of famous for, if you don't know how to recover from the spin, just let go of everything and it will very likely do it for you.
right. And apparently this, you have, just like the T-37 trainer, Juan and I both were instructors on that. You have to be very deliberate with your actions.
And for the record, I do want to state that is not proper spin recovery. Please don't do that. just let go of
Oh,
everything.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
to let go of everything. Yeah. That's not the recommended.
Please don't do that.
But yeah, those kind of airplanes are a little bit more stable, I think.
Sure.
In general.
Just more favorable
Anyway.
recovery characteristics,
Right.
Yeah.
So sadly, I guess also Juan talks about the fact that she was relatively new to this airplane and only had about 200 hours on it, and she had just soloed pretty recently on it, and maybe wasn't completely comfortable with it. I'm not sure. I'm sure we're going to find out more as the NTSB investigates.
Yep. Well, we'll
Sad.
definitely await that information and share it when we have it.
Yep. And that was, as they said, about 9 something in the morning on Saturday morning.
Just after 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Now the next incident happened around just before noon, I believe. I was already, or right around noon, something like that. I was already in my car heading south from Oshkosh, heading home. And I'm trying to find, where's Evernote? Here we go. This is also from the Aviation Safety Network. An ELA Aviation ELA 10 Eclipse and a Rotorway Exec 162F, which is this one, small helicopter, light helicopter, ended up colliding midair at Oshkosh Whitman Field. And then the previous one, the gyrocopter, ended up falling down on top of an innocent bystander, a Mooney, this one right here, that was just parked. Fortunately, nobody was in it, and that may have saved the lives of the two that were in the gyrocopter, because they both lived, and they were they were injured in serious condition, but they are thought to be able to survive this. But the occupants of the helicopter were killed on impact, and we don't really have, as far as I know. I looked for some updates on this, but again, the NTSB isn't going to be investigating this, and not sure exactly why they collided in flight. But I can tell you, and Steph can back me up here, when you're at Oshkosh at AirVenture, I mean, every which way you look, this way, that way, up, down. I mean, there are helicopters constantly flying around in patterns, and lightweight aircraft, and ultralights, and motor glider parachute things,
parachutes and things. Yeah, there's a lot of aircraft in the air. There's a lot of controllers there who are working very diligently to make sure that everyone stays safe. But it's, at the end of the day, it's a lot going on in a relatively small space. And it's unfortunate, and it's I would say actually very fortunate that it is such a well orchestrated event, because these events actually are very rare and uncommon. Like we were saying at the start of talking about these incidents, we can't recall ever, or at least within the past several years, there being such a serious incident.
Yep.
I could be wrong on that, but there's just nothing comes to mind.
No, to me either. Now, I don't have a lot of it. I'm not one of those people that have been to Oshkosh for 30 years in a row, like Glenn Otto, who I got to visit with at the Brown Arch on Thursday, late morning, about noontime. And that blew me away when he said that this was his 30th attendance at Oshkosh. And I went, wow, that's amazing.
Oh yeah.
But this is only the third time really for me. And so I don't, I'm not really sure what the track record is at AirVenture every year. But sadly, Saturday, that last Saturday and Sunday is big for the general public, right? To come and look at the air shows
locals
and
whatnot.
Yeah,
come up on the weekend.
It's never a good good look when
no.
airplanes crash and people die. Anyway, I don't know what else to say about that. Hopefully we'll get some more information about what happened, why they ended up colliding. And I guess we can maybe just quickly cover. Oh, you know what we should do? Let's go down to the one specifically for you, Ms. Plummer.
Yes, that
And
that Liz
go
put in
ahead.
here for me.
Yes, you may take over now. The
Okay.
news reporting. Let me see here. I don't think we have any slides for that. So
No, I don't think there's anything. They have some stock photos in here which don't appear to be
okay.
specific to the article. So this is also from, I believe, from Paddle Your Own Canoe. And the headline is European court rules that airlines must pay compensation for providing inadequate first aid. Europe's top court has ruled that airlines should be held liable if they provide inadequate first aid following an accident that injures a passenger during a flight. The case was referred to Europe's Court of Justice by an Austrian court, which was seeking clarity over whether first aid provided by cabin crew could form part of an accident. In this case, after a passenger was scalded by hot coffee. Under Article 17 of the Montreal Convention, airlines are liable for most injuries sustained by passengers following an in-flight accident or during boarding and disembarking. There are only very limited exceptions that airlines can use in their defense, and passengers can win big payouts. The lawsuit that the Court of Justice was asked to rule on was originally brought by an Austrian Airlines passenger who was injured when a jug of hot coffee accidentally fell on him from a catering trolley and scalded him. The cabin crew tended to the injured passenger, but he sued, arguing that the carrier should be held accountable and pay damages for aggravated injuries that were sustained as a result of inadequate first aid that was provided. The Court of Justice said on Thursday that the act of providing first aid could indeed form part of the accident, and therefore airlines could be held liable for providing deficient in-flight medical assistance. Passengers may be able to argue that inadequate first aid aggravated their injuries, which in turn could result in a bigger compensation payout. The Montreal Convention limits compensation to $128,821. It's a very
Specific number.
It's a very specific number. What's the word? What's the anagram, or like when it's forwards and backwards the same numbers? 128821.
I forgot what that's called. A panagram, I think, or
Who knows?
pentagram.
No, that's not it.
That's a 5-star thing. Come on. Okay, Neil Landworm or Ben.
Someone help us out here. We struggle with words
Please tell
and
us
definitions.
what it is that we're
Anyway,
talking about.
it's 128,821 special drawing rights, which is a made-up currency anyway, that is currently equivalent to around $171,000. Accidents on board.
Palindrome.
Palindrome.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. Oh, we are not good at.
Well, I had the right the first letter. I started. My word started
totally
with a
wrong.
P.
I couldn't think of what it was. Anyway, accidents on board an aircraft. The strict liability of airlines under the. Wait, let me read that again. Accidents on board an aircraft. The strict liability of airlines under the Montreal Convention extends to inadequate first aid administered on board an aircraft. There's some more to this. Let me see if any of it's. It goes on for quite a long time. Sounds like basically if you can argue that your injuries were actually made worse by poorly performed first aid, then you are potentially entitled to a larger compensation.
And who's responsible for paying the compensation?
The airline.
The airline?
The airline.
So if somebody like, let's say, Dr. Steph got involved with providing first aid or care,
it wouldn't come to whoever was providing the care. It falls to the airline for failing to provide sufficient care. So we had a little discussion about this beforehand, but I'll be honest, I didn't read the whole article, so I wasn't sure where I was going with it. You know, I still think that's kind of a tricky thing. You know, again, what we were kind of discussing before we started recording is that you're on an airliner. You're on a form of transportation. Yes, there can be provisions for providing first aid for
it's not a
common
hospital?
things. This is not a hospital, right?
Oh.
And you're largely relying on people who are So either employees who have some basic training in first aid. So basic training can be things like apply a bandage. Maybe in this case, you have a small burn or a large burn, put some ointment on it so that it's not sticking to things or something. In the case of someone having a cardiac arrest, providing an AED, which is easy to use, and provide training to your cabin crew, that's appropriate, I think. But there's always going to be the potential for something to happen that hasn't been thought of or happened before. That's kind of the nature of an accident. And whether it's something that is attributed to something happening as a course of the flight. So say there was some clear turbulence. Didn't know it was going to happen. You get coffee spilt on you, or something falls on you, or I can think of a whole bunch of different things. There could be injuries sustained that would be outside of the realm of, employees who have some basic training, or anyone who might actually be on the airplane. So maybe there isn't a doctor on the airplane. It's possible. That's just kind of statistically, it's likely perhaps, but it's not a given. So I think that's a slippery slope. I think it's a little bit tricky. It sounds like they do have limitation in place for how much could be awarded, whatever that fake currency palindromic dollar amount or palindromic amount is, which is good that there's a limit and it's not just like runaway, tens of millions of dollars for something small-ish. But I don't know. I have mixed feelings. What do you think, Jeff?
My question here is regarding the actual, I don't understand the European Parliament thing, and if they even have any authority or any power to force things, from the various member countries to do or implement.
Sounds like they do.
Well, I think that they feel like they do, but I'm not sure they do. Anyway, I'm just kind of curious about that. But I'm wondering if this is going to have the effect of, you're traveling on vacation on one of these airplanes, and well, actually, you wouldn't be liable. It would be the airline. I don't know what the airline is going to do with this. They're going to encourage doctors and medical personnel maybe not to volunteer.
Well, so you can have unintended negative consequences of things. But then they would just turn around and say, well, that was also negligent and you're still liable to pay the stuff.
Damned if you do and damned if you don't.
If you make no attempt, you're liable in one way, and that might actually be worse. Maybe they come up with a higher dollar amount for that. But if you do attempt it, and, in the course of doing so, something actually was made worse. You put the wrong type of bandage on a specific type of wound, and it, takes longer to heal, which, I don't know, you're on a flight that lasts, if there's a significant injury, you could make the case that maybe they should have diverted so that they could get attention sooner rather than later. That would be the logical thing to do. I can't think of too many things that are going to be aggravated by inappropriate first aid in that short of a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Well, you're the expert here, but I don't know if this is a good thing or not. But I guess we'll see. I
said my feelings are mixed, but they lean strongly towards I don't
think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're only doing part one, which and we want to kind of cover a little bit of feedback, and we definitely want to cover getting to know us. It's the last time we were together, Steph. So, what do you think about us moving to that?
Let's do it.
All right. Getting to know you. Getting to. Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
Sorry,
anyway,
I'm gonna leave you hanging on that one.
It's a nice little tune that I'm not going to sing with today. And so it's the time of the show where we get together and find out what we've been up to. And let's see. Steph, I think that you haven't been on the show longer than it's been longer since you've been on the show.
Yeah, but I don't know when. So I don't know how far back to. And I can't remember that far back anyway, so it doesn't matter. My
Okay.
memory
Well, what do
is
if you think hard? Can you think of anything in your relatively recent past that you want to share with our listeners?
well, I'm just taking. So I want to say that maybe I was on the show at least at some point during this, but I had quite a bit of family in town early in the month, so that was nice. I got to see both of my brothers came for visits at different times. I think I did talk about it maybe where my little brother got his skydiving license.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
were
you
able
did.
to,
The last time you were on,
jump
you
together.
talked
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the following week, my other brother and his girlfriend came to visit, and then another friend came in from out of town to visit. So it's wonderful. I love having friends and family visit, and I would always encourage my family and friends to do so. But man, I'll tell you what, it makes the time go by really fast because you're always doing stuff. And then it's like you feel like you're not caught up in other areas of your life, but it was great. It was really good to see all of them, to catch up. We were able to do some fun, interesting things. We went to a concert. We spent some time on the lake. Shared some good meals. So I have to look back through my my photos here to remind me where I was and what I was doing, and I'm kind of just scrolling. And then in the last couple of weeks here, Captain Jeff, you and I have actually had some overlap in our outings and meetups and activities and things. So this was, how long ago now? 2 weeks? Not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
It wasn't that long. It was July 23rd.
23rd. I think.
So
Yeah.
we
Couple
put a
weeks ago.
photo up on the screen if you are watching the video of this, but it is myself, Captain Jeff, and then that is Matt from the, oh my gosh, the A320 podcast. I feel like I always get the name wrong. And Paul from
Youngstown area.
From Youngstown, thank you. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And Matt's
He drove all the way down.
Yeah, exactly. His family, lovely family and daughters and wife. And he was in the Atlanta area, so we all got together just to catch up and talk airplanes, and that was a really nice night. I'm glad I was able to get down there for the evening.
Yeah, I mean, Steph flew. She got on an airplane, paid for an airline ticket, round trip, came all the way over from Charlotte to Atlanta, and then flew home that night, or the
next morning, actually. Yeah. It's just easier.
Anyway, that was really
I
nice
just
of you
figured
to
it
do
would
that.
be that way I wouldn't be rushing to get back to the airport.
Yeah. It was a neat little place. He had planned to hold the meetup at the 57th Fighter Group,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden we received this panicked communication from him. Oh, I think, or maybe were you the one that figured that out, Steph, or did
No, he
Matt?
messaged me that morning. I was actually
Okay.
What was I doing?
I think he sent me an
I think I was in the
email,
middle. I was in the
maybe
middle
both
of like
us.
catching up from having had family and friends in town. So I was like
Uh-huh.
resetting the guest room and doing all my laundry and stuff, and trying to think what I needed for the evening and make sure I had clothing packed for work the next day because I was leaving Atlanta in the morning and going straight to my office. And I got a message and it said something like, "Meetup disaster, hashtag meetup disaster."
Yeah.
I said, uh-oh. And I was thinking, oh no, did he not make it to Atlanta? All kinds of things. But it turns out that the restaurant we were going to go to at the, what's the name of the 57?
PDK, DeKalb Petrie Airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On their website, it shows that their Sunday hours are actually quite late, I think to like 8 o'clock or something. So we thought we'd get there at 6 o'clock. Turns out they actually close at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So that wasn't going to work.
Not for a 6 o'clock
Not
start
for a
time.
6 o'clock start time. So, he kind of scrambled a little bit and said, oh, there's this place across the street, basically. Looks nice. Seems like they're open. Give them a call. Made sure that we could potentially we weren't sure how many people might show up. So some indeterminate number of guests to hang out for a while. And they're like, yep, come on over. And it ended up being really lovely. Some good food, barbecue type stuff. Lots of tasty beers on draft, and small group, but quite a lot of fun to catch up with everyone. And Matt had lots of Airbus swag for us. So this picture is
Yes.
Captain Jeff with his Airbus A320 notebook.
Yeah, because Matt, one of the things he does is instructs. His whole podcast is about learning about the A320 and various systems and operations, procedures, that kind of thing. And so, as Steph mentioned, he brought a lot of swag. Still haven't been able to get the business cards yet in the chief pilot office, the Acme, but I still have a bunch of these, and he gave us several little
Notepads and
notepads,
pens, and I've got some
pens,
lanyards,
and
and mine are all
pen
downstairs. I'm not very good at this.
flight
Yep.
path training. I think that's his business, and he gets paid to instruct people. Even got a nice A320 sticker. But the best thing that I got was this flag. It says Airbus on it. And guess what? This is my new BS flag that I'm going to fly anytime I sense there's some BS going on in our show.
I love it.
Yeah, so it says Airbus on it.
Sweet.
Sorry, all you Airbus people. I love you.
You know
You're all
what?
great
I hope,
people.
especially if the BS comes from Captain Nick, you can wave it at him.
Yeah, exactly. That's really mainly why I
Yes.
was so pleased to see that item. So thanks, Matt, for bringing all the swag and goodies and stuff. So nice. You have such a wonderful family. Your wife is great, and your daughters are just precious. And
They're so
I
enjoyable
really,
to talk to, you know. And it kind of
Holly
struck
was
me.
one of them. And what do you remember the name of the youngest
Oh my
one?
gosh,
I
Matt's
can't
gonna kill
remember
me.
her name, but Holly
Yep.
was the older daughter.
If
And
you
I
hadn't just
can't-
put me
I
on the
mean,
spot and asked me,
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Matt. I'm terrible with names.
But I was having all kinds of fun, just playing around, joking around with the youngest daughter. Yeah,
So
she was cute.
I'm always super impressed when kids aren't just like stuck in their iPads and their phones, and
Mm-hmm.
they were very, interactive, telling us all about the places they'd seen and been around the U.S. and playing some card games and stuff, and very
That's good
very nice to
parenting.
talk to.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Really.
It's
And
refreshing.
and being exposed to social situations at a young age and engaging, and not, as you said, Steph, like just being in their own little world and looking at an iPad or a phone or something. So, Matt,
Well
you
done.
did a good job. Or so far you've done a great job, and I'm sure it's going to be the same throughout their lives. So anyway, that was great that I got a chance to see Steph and also Matt and his family and Paul. Paul drove all the way down from Ohio, and he just recently retired at 53 years old. He
I'm
was working at
jealous.
a nuclear power plant. Yes, I am. And but soon I'll be joining.
I was
the
saying I'm
ranks of the
jealous.
Retired. Oh,
I'm
you're
also
jealous.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, quite that age yet, but that might be a stretch
Right.
for me. So
You're not that old?
not yet. Getting there.
I'm just kidding.
Getting there.
I know you're not.
Just a little bit away.
You're not that old at all. Anyway, so it was nice when Paul drove down. When he came into town the night before this meetup, I met Paul at a local tavern, Marlowe's Tavern location, not the Roswell location, but one more aligned with the highway that he was coming in on. And we had a nice meal there and a nice talk. And then he got up early the next day. He brought his bike down with him and did the Silver Comet Trail, which is
Oh, nice.
an abandoned railroad
I've
bed
done
and
some
line.
running on it. It's really
Oh,
nice.
okay. Yeah, I have not yet actually been on it. I'd like to do that sometime soon. But it starts in Marietta, Georgia, not far from where Captain Dana lives, and then it heads to the west and it goes all the way to Anniston, Alabama, crosses the Alabama border into the little mountainous area of northern Alabama, just shy of Birmingham area. So that's cool. And then he ended up arriving at St. Peter Chanel, the church that I sing at on the weekends.
Oh, wow.
And he attended the 12:15 mass. And so that was nice seeing him there. And then we ended up getting back together. I'm not sure what he did in between mass and
He
never
went
mind.
over to the airport, didn't he? Yeah. Or
Well, no, hang on. We
Okay.
actually, after that mass, Paul and myself and my choir director Jane went to lunch at a Vietnamese restaurant, and the family that owns and operates the Vietnamese place also are members of the St. Peter Chanel Catholic Church as well. So it was nice. We had a nice nice talk and leisurely lunch, and we basically burned up all the time, and it was time for Jane and I to go back to the church and actually start rehearsal for the 5 o'clock more contemporary mass. So anyway, it was a fun-filled day, and then I got to see Paul again and Steph and Matt and his family at what was the name of that place? The Red
I don't
Top or
remember.
something like
I'm
that.
terrible with. I already told you I'm
Because-
terrible with names. I have no idea where we were.
I don't. Do you remember my name?
Who are you? Sorry.
I think it was called the Red Top or something like that.
No.
I thought they had like a big red awning out front.
Stand by. I'll look it up here.
That's all right. It doesn't matter.
But I've got it like right here.
Come on, I'm ready for the bell.
Oh, oops.
No. Fail.
You had your finger on that one first. I know it. You're like just ready to. The problem is I have too many text messages.
I can figure it out. I'll just go to maps.google.com.
Blue top. Blue top.
Blue top? Really? Okay. Why did I think it was red? I think they actually had a red awning. That's why I thought it was a red top. I got the top part right.
One top, two top, red top, blue top.
And then next door there was a one with a bright yellow thing. I thought the reason why I'm late is because I had to go next. I was next door at the yellow top.
So
Bam! Wait, I got a rinse out here. Yeah. Anyway, we're so funny.
Everybody out there is just rolling their eyes and groaning at us right now.
They're rolling over in laughter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that too.
Okay. So, Steph, what else is?
Well, I will
been
say
happening
after
in your
that.
life?
So I just related to that real quickly. I've definitely taken that 5:15 a.m. flight back to Charlotte numerous times after Atlanta meetups, adventures, whatnot. And usually it's fine because it's not a long flight if we push back on time and leave on time and don't run into any snags. And that was exactly what happened the next Monday morning. We pushed back on time, short taxi to the runway, took off, landed in Charlotte, and we actually, if you were watching the video just now, you could see from the photo that it was a lovely evening in Atlanta on Sunday night. It was not a lovely evening in Charlotte on Sunday night. They had lots of big thunderstorms, lots of flight cancellations, lots of aircraft out of position, and apparently they just left all these airplanes at the gate overnight. So
Nice.
there were no open gates when we got there, and
Ruh-roh.
apparently no plan to figure out how to get any gates open, which our captain was clearly very unimpressed by.
Yeah.
Lots of PAs sharing his lack of
Dissatisfaction.
with the situation in Charlotte.
I've made several of those kind of PAs in this kind of scenario.
Yes.
It is very frustrating. Yes.
We sat for 30 minutes before we had a gate, and then I just barely made it to work on time. So that was fun. I think I walked in the door at the time I was supposed to start seeing my first patient, but it worked out. It was good.
That is so frustrating for
I was
passengers.
planning to get food, and I didn't have time for food,
Yeah.
so I had to like DoorDash McDonald's. But
My theory is that if you're up there as a passenger and we end up holding for like a half an hour, and then we're obviously running late. We land and go immediately to the gate after touchdown. People aren't quite so upset.
they're not as
by
upset
that.
because they're in the air. A lot of them aren't paying attention to the fact that you're holding either. They're going, wow, it's kind of taking a long
Yeah.
time. But
True. But you arrive early and then, you're sitting on the ground and obviously you've made it to the airport, but there are no gates. And that's what really kind of
Yeah.
irks people.
well, and it wasn't that we just didn't have a gate. They had apparently no idea what gate they could put us at. They were just all full.
Wait a
of all
minute.
these-
That can't be right, Steph.
At Charlotte?
Charlotte's
At Charlotte,
ramp control are the best.
We love our ramp control in Charlotte.
They're horrible. The worst in the whole system. I'm sorry, but they are the worst.
Yeah,
At
they're
least in
kind
my
of
experience.
notorious. They're kind of
That's.
notorious.
I mean, I love Charlotte. I love the Charlotte people, but I cannot stand flying into that airport. It's so
I was saying,
frustrating.
I like the controllers that I deal with. They're not ramp control. They're the air traffic controllers approach.
Oh yeah, the air traffic
Yeah.
controllers are great.
They're fantastic. But ramp control
and,
is a different beast, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's the thing. So we're gonna fast forward just a little bit. This was this past weekend, Friday night and Saturday night. There's a a big cancer fundraising event that happens in Charlotte on a yearly basis at the end of July. Has a funny name. It's called the 24 Hours of Booty. It's named,
That's a lot of booty.
Jeff was getting all kinds of weird ideas when I was telling him about
I'm thinking,
this.
I want to go to that 24 hours of booty.
I was like, you're going to be disappointed
good.
by these pictures that I sent because they are family friendly and show appropriate. It's called, well, I will say the reason it got that name is because it's just a 24-hour group, usually team, kind of cycling, walking, running, get out there, put miles in. There's no, it's kind of do as much as you want or as little as you want, but the idea is that you've raised funds to donate to a couple of their charities that are all surrounding either cancer care, cancer research, support for families who are dealing with cancer. So our work group had a team. I think we had the largest team this year. We had 33 people, but there were probably only actually the 4 of us in this picture. The guy in the funny hat was not actually on our team. He was a different team, but he had the bicycle with beer.
And he had a funny hat.
And he had a funny hat. He's actually one of the co-owners of a local brewery, so it was nice to have him out there. But he was
it Noda?
No, Sugar Creek.
Oh, okay.
So, but he had a cooler attached to the back of his 3-wheeled bicycle, and he had a little QR code. So if you wanted a beer, you had to donate to him. I was like, genius. So
yeah,
we did support his team as well. We had some beers, as you can see. But
nice.
Anyway, to get back to what the event is, it's this not quite 3-mile loop in a very nice neighborhood of Charlotte. Lots of kind of I won't even say McMansions. There's some very large houses, very old neighborhood, lots of big trees, tree-lined streets. Just a nice place to be in Charlotte. But this loop, even not during this event, is commonly used by cyclists. And because it's in kind of a ritzy area, it became known as the Booty Loop because from what I heard, people out there are always dressed, really in their fancy
I was thinking maybe
attire
like
and gear.
booty.
And no. Just they're
Okay.
always kind of, you go to the gym and you see the people who have their like fancy gym attire. That's kind of what happens there, but also
Bougie
pretty
booty.
legit. Bougie. Yes. So this event started, it uses the Booty Loop. So it's the 24 hours of booty. You can be out on the course as much or as little as you want during those 24 hours. Commonly, there's a big group that rides the first lap and the last lap all together. I thought it would be a good way for me to get out there and get my bike on the road because I commonly only use it on the trainer. But I do have some triathlons or a triathlon coming up in the fall where I'm going to have to ride my bike on the road. So it was good training for me, forced training. I ended up doing 88 miles on the bike. And I also ran 16 miles. So a total of like 103 miles in 24 hours. And I actually,
That's good.
that picture that's up right now, you can see some of the tents and vendors and things. There's a big grass field. It's right by Queen's University, if you're familiar with Charlotte. And they call it Bootyville, and you can set up your tent and hang out and have kind of a party atmosphere. And they did a really nice job. I was really impressed. I'm excited to do it again next year. I think our team raised over $40,000 for charity. But there were some really big individual fundraisers. They did the awards, and I think the biggest individual fundraising amount was like $72,000. And then there were a couple of kids, like teenage years and younger, who raised over $10,000 each. So it's
Nice.
a big deal.
So if I'm in the mood for some booty next year, I can head over for
Got to
this
come
as
to
well.
Charlotte. It's a party for the neighborhood too. They give out awards for like, best neighborhood spirit awards and stuff like that. So a lot of the houses will host parties and they'll have people out there all night long, cheering people on and offering food and beverages and whatnot. A couple of houses had like really big sprinklers set up so you could kind of ride to the side of the road and get hosed down.
Get hosed down.
It was warm. That's the other. We're going back in time now.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I showed these in wrong order.
That's all right.
Was there anything else you wanted me to show?
Nope, that was it. That
before
was
we start
for
talking about
we'll
Osh?
talk about Oshkosh. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this photo that we're looking at right now, all these, I'll attempt to make a note with all these photos in it and make it something linkable to see in the show notes.
So first out, I want to shout out to David Abbey because he took a lot of photos, and I definitely stole this one from him because I didn't take any of my own photos while I was there. I know he took photos, a lot of photos of me with other people as well, but this was the only one that I was able to access for some reason. So,
well, I think a couple of the photos I have are from Dave Abbey as well.
So,
but he actually sent them to me. So,
no, I just stole it off of his social media.
Okay, I don't think you'll mind actually.
Okay, I didn't think so either, but. Great photo of myself, and it was nice to see Captain Al there. But there were a lot of people there, and I'm never going to get everybody's names. But
I know. I'm not going to even attempt.
Not even going to even try, because if you were there, you know who you were. We said hello. And I'll actually, since I've been talking for a minute, do you want to talk a little bit about Oshkosh, and then I'll chime in with some more?
When did you actually arrive? Was it Thursday morning or
I got
Wednesday
there.
night?
Oh, okay. So if we want to talk about more travel snafus, thanks to the weather. Travel woes. I got there Wednesday night. My plan was to work a half a day on Wednesday because I didn't leave myself a lot of vacation time this year. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to get to Oshkosh. And then I was like, wait, I've got an extra day and a half. I can just make a real quick run up to Oshkosh, try to see a lot of people. Thursday's probably the best day to do that when, before people that got there early start leaving and before people who get there later, or after people who get there later arrive. We'll talk about Glenn Towler's memorial stuff in a minute, but he always did the meetup on Thursday. So lots of people planning to be there for that. So I was like, good, I'll be there for Thursday, and I'll try and get up there Wednesday night in time for the night air show, because that was such a cool thing to see back in 2019 when we were there.
Yep.
So I actually got out of work early. There had been a lot of storms that morning, kind of really between like Chicago and that area of Wisconsin along the eastern side of Wisconsin there, up towards Oshkosh. And Chicago got a little bit screwy because of it. So of course, flew into Appleton to get to Oshkosh, had to go through Chicago. And I got on an earlier flight because I was like, okay, if there's stuff messed up in Chicago, I'll at least get there and not have to worry about like tight connections or anything. And we pushed back from the gate. We taxied to the runway. I'm not sure at what point they found out Chicago was on a ground stop, but we basically had to do the taxi of shame back down the runway a little ways and then back off of the runway and then just park and wait until we were able to get a clearance time to go to Chicago.
You're still in Charlotte.
Still in Charlotte. Have not gotten to Chicago. Gotcha. But that was fine. I still had plenty of time for the flight that I was supposed to be on up to Appleton. I was like, oh, this is why I got on the earlier flight, because if it happened on the later one, might not have worked out so well. We didn't wait that long, maybe 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't terrible. Got on our way to Chicago, got there and kind of found out that all of the flights to Appleton had gotten messed up as well. Like really messed up. And if I had known that the 10 a.m. flight was still on the ground, I would have tried to go over and same day flight change to it, because I might have been able to bump some other unlucky person who was trying to stand by on it. But I didn't know it was there. I thought I had left already. And then like right as the door was closing, I happened to like walk past the gate. I was like, oh, wait, what? Oh, shoot. I would have gone on that one. So that didn't work out. And meanwhile, I'm getting notifications that my particular flight is getting more and more delayed. It was supposed to leave at 4 something in the afternoon. And then it's 5 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock. And I'm going, well, the air show starts at 8 o'clock. I'm like, well, shoot, probably not going to make it in time for the air show, but looks like I'll get there tonight. Oh, well, not what I wanted to happen, but I didn't leave myself a lot of travel time. So sometimes these things happen. So I was planning on, having one of my friends who had been visiting me earlier in the week was up there with her family, and she had agreed to pick me up from the airport. But by the time we finally got on our way, ended up arriving right in the middle of the air show, basically, like an hour after it started. So I made friends with a couple other people, and we split an Uber because we were all going down to Oshkosh. So that worked out pretty okay. We had a great Uber driver. It was not Uber Frank, unfortunately. But this guy was local. I mean, he knew exactly where he was going, where he needed to take us. Good conversation in the truck actually on the way down, and got there actually with the air show still ongoing. Saw the last act and then also the fireworks. So that
And
worked
the
out
big
pretty well.
giant explosion at the
Oh
very
yeah,
end where
yeah,
you can
the
actually
wall
feel
of
the
fire
heat.
and everything. You could feel it, and
Like,
I'd been able to
whoa.
walk all the way up to the flight line at that point. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So you
and
got the full effect of that.
I was starving at that point, so I went straight to one of the A&Ws and grabbed a cheeseburger, and I was standing there eating my cheeseburger, watching the fireworks. That was pretty
Nice.
good. It worked out good on the location as well because our friend Hillel, what was I gonna say, who's always in your shower. He was not in your shower
Yeah.
that evening. He was camping at Oshkosh. Was nice enough to lend me a spot next to his airplane to pitch my tiny tent next to. So I did that, and he was there watching the fireworks as well, and we weren't far away from one another, so met up. And it's a good thing because it was dark at that point, and I would have never found his airplane out in the North 40. I would have been wandering around for hours, but found Hillel, got set up, shared a beverage, got a shower, didn't share the shower, and then got some sleep a little bit, and then Thursday, yeah, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't think I was going to be going to Oshkosh this year. And I mean, I really thought a very low chance of it because, the first couple of weeks of July, playing in the UK and going to the British Grand Prix and having a couple of meetups and having a grand time. And I'm thinking, well, I should probably kind of be an adult and try to get some flying in for the second half of the month. I did. I flew a couple of trips, and then I thought,
And then you had FOMO.
well, yeah, and I was watching all the social media from all the folks up there in Oshkosh, and I'm thinking, okay, I want to go see my friends. So I'm almost retired, so I'm so close. And I thought, what's another little, a small monetary month, I can swing that. So drove up. And the reason I did that is because I could have flown up, but then the rental cars, I looked into that, are like, $350, $400 a day.
Yeah, well, and I did have the thought that when everything was getting delayed in Chicago, I'd just rent a car.
Yeah.
There were no rental cars, like zero. Couldn't get one.
Oh.
So
Yeah, so I finally thought, and I've mentioned this several times on the show, and it's a good thing because I'm going to be living the full-time, motor coach, motorhome RV lifestyle, which involves a lot of driving potentially. I love driving, I really do. And I thought I'm going to do another road trip. That's what I did last year. Of course, I was there for 10 days or 9 days or whatever it was. But this time, I thought I'm just going to take basically, it's a day and a half drive. You could probably make it in one, but it's like about 14 hours from Roswell to Oshkosh. And so I decided to, and I was convinced by Liz, producer Liz. She was watching over me and giving me advice that I not push it too much, and that I should stop at about the 9-hour point. So I did that, and she helped me with looking up some hotels, and it was very nice. It was like she was my virtual assistant, and we talked on the phone, and she was texting back and forth, and she said, "Hey, why don't you just shoot for Lafayette, Indiana?" So I did, stayed in the courtyard there, and then got a good night's sleep. Actually, I was going to try to get up really early, like I set my alarm for 3:45, and it went off at 3:45, and I thought, nope, I'm not going to do this. I went back to sleep, and I think I got up at 7:30 or something like that. So
yeah, I think that's
unfortunately,
when you texted me and Nick Camacho to say not going to make it in time for the 10:30.
No, but you were the representatives of the APG crew there at Glenn's memorial. I didn't arrive too late after the memorial, but I still had to stop and get my media credentials and stuff before I could get in. And anyway, luckily there were still a lot of people kind of hanging around the area. And
we knew you were on your way, and I didn't have a good way to communicate with everybody that was there, so I kind of said, I'll wander back over here around like 12:30 or so, noon, 12:30.
Oh, okay.
So the people who had been at the meetup kind of knew that I'd be hanging back around there again too.
Okay.
And then I knew I could get in touch with you to kind of let you know where I was. So I figured that
Excellent.
would work out.
Well, that worked out great. And I kind of said, hey, if you have a chance, if you guys could record something, because I'm not going to make it there and be able to record anything at the Brown Arch. And so Camacho said, yeah, we can do that. And so here is what he and Steph ended up coming up with. So you ready to play that audio?
Yeah, it was all Nick, by the way.
All Nick. Okay.
Hey, Captain Jeff, this is
Nick, we're here at Oshkosh. We just finished getting our picture taken in front of the Brown Arch, and we thought we'd send you a quick audio recording with some of our community members. Yeah, Hillel's over here helping me. We'll pass the mic around real quick, let everyone say who they are and either how they got here or how many times they've been here or something. You'll probably hear this from me later, but I just got in late last night, 10 minutes before the night air show with my son, which was cutting it a little closer than we wanted to. But we made it. We'll be here today and tomorrow, and then blasting out of here tomorrow night to get back home. So we hopefully don't overwhelm him a little too much.
Hey, y'all. It is Dr. Steph. Much like Nick, I got here yesterday very late in the evening. My goal was to be here before the start of the night air show, and that did not really work out thanks to some pretty good weather between Chicago and Oshkosh, but made it eventually. Did actually get to see quite a bit of the night air show and especially the fireworks, so that was great. I'm actually just here for the day today, but wanted to pick a day where I could hopefully maximize potential to see as many people as possible, and I think that's been accomplished. So really great of Hillel to organize having everyone meet here at the Brown Arch at 10:30, tribute to our friends Glenn and then also Launchpad. So nice to keep them in our thoughts here today. And I will stop yakking on and pass it along.
Yeah, let me hold the phone. There you go.
Hi APGs, it's Captain Al here from the Plane Safety Podcast. It's a little bit warm here in Oshkosh. A lot of people didn't have a lot of sleep last night. So if you hear a few slurred words, it's nothing to do with adult beverages, I can assure you. Well, maybe a little. So yeah, we're all here to commemorate some special people, but life goes on, and there's a huge group of people here just making good memories, making good friends, and enjoying aeroplanes. So Captain Al from the Plane Safety Podcast, that regular weekly podcast that you can get on your podcatcher, weekly, the Plane Safety Podcast, Captain Al out.
Hey everyone, this is Dispatch Greg from the Flying in Life podcast. That's not very frequent, but we're getting out every now and then. Been out at Oshkosh since Sunday with my wife and just sweltering the heat out here, enjoying the company and soliciting dispatch. So here we are. Thanks for the time, and here you go.
Hey, it's Jen Niffer here, and I am not with a podcast. Very refreshing, I'm sure. But I do have a blog, talesfromtheterminal.com. I'm just here seeing airplanes, seeing friends, trying not to melt.
Hey, APG, it's Trevor or Tango Bravo, depending on which podcast you listen to. Came in on Monday with my 13-year-old son, and we're leaving tomorrow from Colorado. And yeah, it's really great to see everyone for a long time and to meet new people. So I highly recommend it. Oshkosh is always a blast, and it's happy to be here. So.
Hi, APGers. It's Vancouver Tim, and great to be here. Thanks to Hillel for organizing the event here, and Logan and David. This is my 6th year, and of course, it's great airplanes surrounded by all different varieties. But more important than that, it's the people. And 6 years ago, when I met both Glenn and Launchpad at this very show, it's great to come back and commemorate and think about all the fun memories of meeting them here from those years before. So this is Vancouver Tim, out.
Hello, APG. This is David Abbey from New York. Glad to be at Oshkosh again with my aviation family. Got here on Sunday, flew up in a 737. I was not in the cockpit, but got here safely. And this is my 5th year. And I just remember when I first time I came here, it took me about 10 minutes to say, I'm coming back every year. It's that good. There's that much to see. Great people, great airplanes, and do this again next year. Take care.
Hey, APG, Comanche Sue. Here paying our respects to our friend Glenn this morning. So that was super nice. Yep, here all week. Been here since Saturday and happy to be back to see everybody.
Captain Jeff. It's Logan Lynch. Flew in from Bismarck on Saturday night. Got to Milwaukee around midnight. Had a nice 2-hour delay from Acme, so thanks for that.
You're welcome.
But been here all week. I'll be leaving Sunday morning. Really been kind of a chill week. A lot of airplanes, obviously. Watched the night show yesterday and just been enjoying a lot of good company. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Greetings, APG. This is Hillel, and it's really just a totally Oshkosh thing to watch so many people come together to remember Glenn. And I'm grateful that putting out the call, actually, Logan beat me to the punch and put out the request for people to show up at the usual time and place here at Oshkosh. For those who don't remember, it was Glenn's birthday each year at Oshkosh, which is how he wanted to spend his birthday. So it's fitting that we remember him here. I found APG many moons ago, shortly after Captain Jeff appeared on the Airplane Geeks podcast. And I was contributing to the Airplane Geeks a little bit, and I was then sending in verbal feedback, audio feedback to Captain Jeff when he was by himself. And at my very first Oshkosh in 2015, this tall dude comes running over, and he's been trying to coordinate to meet with me, and I have no idea who he is. And Glenn went out of his way to make a significant effort to meet up with me wherever I could be met up with. It didn't matter where on the airport I was. He wanted to meet with me. And it was just so welcoming and wholesome. And that's how I'll always remember Glenn. So, of course, Oshkosh is Oshkosh. It's like no other place on earth for a week. And grateful to everybody that came out and who contributed to the making of the brick and the memorial wall at the museum. Many of our listeners have contributed quite significantly, so I'm thankful for all that. And for now, I'll sign off and Glenn out.
All right, Jeff, that's it from us. Sorry to miss you, Liz, Miami Rick, and Captain Nick. We're still all patiently waiting to see if we get an appearance from Captain Jeff, but until we're back in the studio, we'll send it back to you, Jeff.
Well, thank you very much. And yeah, you did see me. In fact, I have photographic evidence of such right here. There. I showed up, and there's Nick Camacho and myself. And in the previous, when they were talking on this recording that Camacho made, they talked about Logan Lynch, who is right behind Steph's
He's over my left shoulder. And
then I think that's Comanche Sue,
It is.
isn't it, that
Yep.
he's talking to? That's kind of cut off there. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, these are some of the photos that David Abbey took of
Nice.
Nick
C5
and I.
in the background.
Yeah. So anyway, it was really nice to see everybody there, and that was.
We were just impressed that you were
Thursday.
dressed in black, because it really, you heard many people reference the sweltering heat. It was, the air was thick and quite warm, as it often is in the Midwest. in the
Yeah,
summer.
I just kind of happened to have that was like laying on my bed, and before I left, I thought I'll just wear that. And it almost looks like I'm wearing a hoodie, but that's
It kinda
actually
does.
the polo shirt, kind of because the sun was just burning the back of my neck, so I'm just kind of flipping up the collar on my polo shirt
Yeah,
there.
that's why I kept that. I got that bandana from the Women Venture tent. They had like a Rosie the Riveter theme thing going on, and I was wearing that around all day. And someone said, "Oh, you want to take that off? It's warm." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's keeping the sun off the back of my neck. It's working."
Right. Yep. And Logan, man, he looked like he was.
Oh, he was like out
dressed for.
in the safari, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was completely covered, which was very smart, actually. And so that was the nice memorial for Glenn, and also Launchpad Marzari as well. He has a tile there as well. And let's see, Friday I didn't really get a chance to see you again, Steph, on Friday.
No, I left on Thursday.
Okay, that's why.
Mhm.
And then I think Camacho left. I think I saw him briefly on Friday. And then he and his son Cannon left for Milwaukee, I believe, to spend the night there and then continue their travel back to Wichita. And so it was nice seeing them. And then on Saturday, the OB, the opposing bases guys, did a live recording of their show, and I
I'm
wanted
actually
to be
quite sad
there.
I missed that. I wanted to be there for that.
Yeah, it was
Couldn't be here.
great. It was a lot of fun. They even asked me to participate in answering one of their questions that they had planned, and so I got a chance to do that. And let me show some pictures from that. This is setting up. This was sent in from Michael Rogers, and this was before, as we were getting everything set up and everything before they started the show. I just decided to make a little recording, and here is that. Well, I'm here at Oshkosh for the main event, which is, of course, the talk by RH and AG. They have some kind of a podcast, apparently it's best in the universe or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty good, I have to say. I'm going to just quickly talk to a few folks just so we have something to talk about on the show for the Getting to Know Us segment. So I just wanted to start off with Chris Ott. He's an APG community member, has been for quite a number of years. Got the chance to meet up with him last year. Used his hangar to be a guest host on the PTUK, and he graciously reached out and said, hey, if you need a place to stay, my house, we have a room, we have a bed, we have a real bathroom and a real shower. And so I took him up on that. So he's up in New London area, about 40-minute drive north or so, something like that. Doesn't seem that long, actually, to me. But anyway, Chris, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. It's been a pleasure this week, and it's been great hosting Captain Jeff. I just hope he put Hillel back in his trunk before he left my house today.
Yeah, I forgot to. We left this morning. I didn't even think about Hillel. Is he still there?
I haven't gotten a panicked call from my wife yet, but we'll know in a little bit.
Well, maybe she kind of digs Hillel. I don't know. Brenda, Chris's wife, has been so hospitable. They've been just great. So thank you so much to you and Brenda for letting me stay in your beautiful home. All right. This guy here, Adam Spink, you may have heard of him. He works in some little podunk tower somewhere out in the middle of nowhere.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Good, good. Yeah, enjoying the week. Came out here with Al, yeah, it's good to see everybody, catch up, and enjoying the weather and the flying.
Well, I'm glad I finally got to see you. I mean, Captain Al has been telling me that you were actually here, and I wasn't really sure that was a fact or not.
I have been trying to avoid you, and it was unavoidable this morning.
Yeah. Oh, well, sorry. And then, of course, I mentioned Captain Al. We've been kind of hanging out together the last couple of days.
We certainly have. We had a great day yesterday. We had some interesting food, and we had a really good catch up because we've not seen each other for a proper long time. But what a beautiful day today.
A little bit of weather here last night. Didn't really affect me because I was in a very nice, as you were, an Airbnb that had real walls and a real roof, and wasn't in a tent this year. I'm glad. Anyway, so it's always a great time spending time with you and talking about all kinds of things. And I mean, we covered just about everything, I think.
We did indeed. Absolutely. Yeah. So on the subject of the weather here, I was chatting to some folks here, and despite it being quite a reasonably nasty storm, I think even by sort of US standards, they had a couple of trees fall in some of the campgrounds. Only one minor injury and no aircraft damage. So another top result for the folks here. And the EAA had volunteers out at 3:00 this morning going around and sorting everything out. So top marks to the EAA. That they do know how to run things here. I'll give you that one, Jeff.
They do. They've been doing it for a while. Yeah, and you're right. They really do. And I've noticed today it's quite a bit muddier than it was the last couple of days I've been here. Anyway, so that's Captain Al. It's always good to hear from him. And Alpha Juliet, he's sent us feedback. In fact, he sent us the video of him and his friends flying from and I forgot what he called the airport, but it was Kennesaw. Yeah, Guntown. There we go. Oh, okay, because it's supposedly a requirement that you have to have a firearm living in there. I don't think they actually enforce that. But anyway, so he flew there down to Hartsfield Jackson International Airport, and it was great. So say hi to everybody in the not OB land, but in APG land.
Hey, everybody in APG. Glad to be here. Glad to meet Jeff in person finally. So been having a blast.
Great. Nice to meet you in person as well. Anyway, I think RH and AG are probably too busy right now to say anything. I might be able to catch them, and looks like AG is getting a photo with someone who really likes him. He's wearing a U.S. Army uniform, looking pretty sharp. And let me just quick. All right, just say hi to everybody in the APG.
Hello, APG crew. Quick shout out and thank you to APG again. We're only here because of you, man.
No, that's not
you got us started. You got us here. Thank you so much, everybody on the APG crew. It was love your guys' show, and happy to have Jeff here for the live show. It's awesome. Thank you.
Great to be here. I mean, that as I said, I started this with, hey, I'm here in Oshkosh for the main event, which is you guys. So, and I'm going to head out of here just as soon as all this is over, and start driving back down to Atlanta.
Drive safe. Thank you for coming.
Sorry you had such a difficult time getting here, but you made it. Yeah, look at this. What a great turnout. That's amazing. I think that there's probably more people under this little tent area than we have like total listeners for the APG. I don't know. It's pretty impressive.
Jeff, we love you.
We love you.
See ya.
All right, just a quick word from AG. I've just been kind of handing the mic around and talking with some of our shared audience, and just wanted to have you just say hello, shout out to the APG crew and community.
Well, of course, APG crew and community. It's AG from Opposing Bases. It's really good to be here. It's good to see all you guys. It feels kind of like the OG crew from when was that? 19, right? Yeah. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we're just glad we made it here. It's been a bit of a ride.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. So relax and do your great show. I'm looking forward to it. And that's it. Thanks, AG.
Well, thank you for coming. It means a lot. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime I have the opportunity to see these guys in person, I take it.
And heckle us, no doubt.
Oh, right. Well, don't. Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, thanks, AG.
Yep.
Dave Abbey here, APG
community member. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. Huge turnout for Opposing Bases. I think Jeff would have a tough time getting this many people.
Yeah, there's no way I get this many.
No. They're doing something right. You might want to ask them for some advice. But
well, they have like really information and knowledge and stuff that people can use, and we don't really have that on our show.
No, it's mostly just made up stories and a lot of conjecture. So this is great.
And just, we just try to make it funny and entertaining, and sometimes we actually have like a little nugget of information and truth.
That's right. And you are entertaining and you're funny. So you got a great podcast as well.
Well, thanks, Dave. I really appreciate you saying so.
And it's great to see you here at AirVenture 23.
Great to see you as well. Oh, and thank you for giving me guest access to the lifetime EAA AirVenture Oshkosh 2020. Well, he's now a new lifetime member of the EAA, and I was honored to get a little wristband so that I could get inside the air-conditioned building for the special people.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And did you get to use it yesterday a little bit? Did you go use it a little bit yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, good. I'm glad you
got some ice cream, and we ate our little taco lunch inside in the air conditioning.
Oh, okay. That's where you were. We were looking for you. All right. So this is Dave saying, if you haven't come to AirVenture Oshkosh, you're missing out.
You are.
Yeah, it's a great place.
As always, great to see you, Dave. Oh, look at this. Sue.
Good
morning. Hey, hugs. I'm holding the microphone. I can't hug you. I'll hug you afterwards. So, Comanche Sue.
Good morning. It is Comanche Sue.
How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Just fine, thanks. Yeah.
Been here all week and really enjoyed myself. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm so happy I got a chance to finally see you, because I knew you were here, but hadn't bumped into you yet. So anyway, so very nice to see you, and looking forward to hearing Posing Base's air traffic talk little lecture.
Thought you might be here, so that's why I'm here too.
Sure.
Meet up with you.
I'm sure that's the only reason why you're here, Sue. All right.
Talk
So
to you later.
talk to you soon. All right. That was a lot of fun. Lots of APG community present at the live. I kept saying their talk and their lecture, but actually it was a live recording of their show. That's exactly what they were doing.
I don't know. I love seeing the success that they've had, because they really do put out a fantastic show. And if you're not listening to Opposing Bases, you should be.
Right.
I mean, listen to us still too, please.
Yeah. Don't forget about us, please. Anyway, in fact, when he was doing the show, they were talking about the new patrons, and then he said something like, "Sorry, Jeff," because I made the comment. They go on and on and on and on with all their new patrons. I'm thinking,
yeah,
that would be nice. Anyway, thank you so much, by the way, you dear patrons of the APG. We do appreciate you. We really do. Anyway, although they're getting lonely and they want more people to join them, I think.
Indeed.
Anyway, let's see here. Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll do is talk about the fact that I took off right after their live show recording, and I headed again south, and I put in the origin and destination in Google Maps or Apple Maps, or I think all ways, all three of them, I think, looked at the different routings that they had. And I thought, oh, the one that they kind of were favoring was one that included like a 50-something minute delay, like somewhere like south of Louisville, between Louisville and Nashville. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to do that. So I'll take one of these other ones. And I ended up on the one that was going most to the west. Of course, I hadn't looked at the weather forecast or weather radar. And then I was going along and I was starting to look at the sky in the distance. I'm thinking, yeah, it looks a little stormy out that way. Maybe I should look at the one. Uh-oh.
That wasn't part of your pre-drive? So you have to
I
do
need to
that in the
find an
RV,
app.
like a...
Yeah. Do they make an app? If they do, please somebody tell me.
There's a lot
that
of radar
has the
apps
overlay of the map and anyway. So, in the weather radar, I all of a sudden felt like, as I was getting further south in southern Illinois, like I was on one of those storm chaser things.
But to find
you know
yourself
how
in the movie Twister, and some
I mean, I'm looking
some
out
research
the window going,
vehicles are going to go like driving by, and like
I've
people with
seen-
big cameras trying to catch.
I've seen
cool
this
photos.
before on these YouTube channels, and these dark clouds and these roll clouds, and I'm thinking, oh, they're coming. Shoot, I have to turn like 90 degrees to the left and start heading due east, because this is coming at me. And this is what I saw. Now, even though the little thing is pointing to the northwest, I was actually at this point, I think, traveling either due east or maybe southeast. And I looked and I thought, if I can make it to Vincennes, Indiana, right across the Illinois-Indiana border, and just hunker down and let this thing just pass by. That's what I'll do. So again, I engaged Liz, and I said, can you look up, see if there's anywhere on a Sunday night that I can eat my dinner and stay inside and let all the stormy weather go by, all these severe thunderstorm warnings and everything else. And so she helped me find the old Chicago pizza and grill or something like that. There's the menu from it, and I had to have something to wash the little pizza down with, so I had a little beer. And the storm went by, and then got to resume my trip down to Clarksville, Tennessee, which is north of Nashville, northwest of Nashville. And it was still a little bit of lingering weather here and there, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't like severe high winds and hail and severe rain. So it was just a little bit of light rain. Everything was wet, but it was still getting light. But just me, made it. The Royal, we made it to Clarksville, Tennessee, and then the next day continued the rest of my trip home to Roswell. There you go. Wow, that whole thing. That whole getting to know us segment, I wasn't anticipating it being this long. Sorry about that.
We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we did. And we have more to do when at least one or more of our crew joins us for the second part of this recording. I guess I'll save the talk about the cover until Nick is on, Nick Anderson, because he's the one that came up with that. I guess I could quickly do. Would you rather me do the coffee fund on this part, Steph, or is there a piece of feedback that you wanted to cover before we ended
Well,
part
I'm not
one?
sure on the feedback because I'm still doing all of the show notes through my phone because
Oh.
Evernote on my computer has been having all kinds of difficulty.
Okay.
Let me.
You know what?
Hmm.
I think I'll just make the command decision and say, let's do the coffee fund, and then we'll just end part one, and then hopefully be able to get
with
cover a bunch
feedback.
of
Yeah.
feedback on the next segment.
Sounds good.
So here we go. We're going to do coffee fund jingle. Now Steph can sing with me. Oh shoot!
Johnny, how much more coffee?
No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh yeah. Nice, Steph.
Thanks. It kept my screen kept telling me my mic was muted. I'm sorry about that.
Huh. How did that happen?
I don't know.
How inopportune. Anyway, the Coffee Fund is your way to support the show financially if you have the resources to do so. And we have a couple of different ways to do that here. One is called the APG Coffee Fund Classic Method. And since the last show, we have Philip Biggin and Paul Gubby. Philip, they both made very nice, generous donations, but Paul Gubby, man, $100. Thank you so much. That was very, very nice. I think he's hoping that will be enough for us to cover his feedback. And we're going to try to do that on the next part, part two, Gubby, because we've had it in our feedback, list for a while. And by the way, the Coffee Fund and feedback and playing your feedback has nothing. They're not connected. So don't worry. You don't have to be part of our coffee bar club or a Coffee Fund cadre for your feedback to be read on our show. Let me hit this little thing right here and keep that music going on in the background. The other way that you can contribute to our show is via Patreon. You can become a patron of our show. And since the last episode, we have a couple of new producers, Kaz Hosier, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. And I love the name Kaz. That's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
And,
it's cool. I like it. Different.
Yeah. Wonder if that's short for, I'm not sure what that would be short for. Anyway, David Franklin, also a new producer, a new patron. And so thank you very much for that. And we also have a new, and you know him, Rob Simmons has contributed to our show. I mean, he's given me all kinds of gifts, and Nick has visited his school and his the school children in his classes, and they've recorded stuff and just been a big part of our show. So Rob is an assistant senior executive producer. It's like one of the top tiers. And that is awesome. So yeah, big round of applause and even a noisemaker for that one. Thank you for joining, becoming a patron. And if you want to join Rob and everybody else over there at Patreon, you can do that by heading over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did, and we will too.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought about, you had no part at all in that coffee fund discussion.
Doesn't matter. I sang, but you didn't hear it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I think it was probably beautiful. Would have brought tears to my eyes, I'm sure.
Maybe someday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hate to cut in. Let's do at least one piece of feedback.
One feedback. Okay. One, and then we'll leave plenty of time.
And then we'll call it quits. Yeah. I'll tell you what we'll do. No, I'm going to do that with Nick. And this one's definitely for Nick. So I'm sorry.
Do you have is there something that's like short, funny, poignant, a good like wrap up to?
Yeah. Not
part
really.
one. All right. Well, we don't have to. It's fine.
Yeah.
I talked a lot.
Tell you what.
Yeah.
I think that this Andy Harris sent in this. It's
I
a
see
little
it
short
involves food, so I'm excited about this.
piece of feedback. Yes. Let me see if I can find which one is it. Hang on.
And dear listeners, it's a complete surprise to me because, like I said, my Evernote is not cooperating. So,
Yeah, she doesn't have any of this information
No
at
idea.
all, but she sees what I'm kind of queuing up for the image. And let me go ahead and do this. And this is a picture of a Lotus Biscoff cookie. There are a couple of airlines out there that enjoy giving these out on their flights. And one of them is Acme Airlines. And Andy says, Captain Jeff, simple question. Will you ever eat the Biscoff cookies again in your life after retirement?
Mm.
I don't know. I'm thinking I might need to snag a couple of those.
You should have
They
some as
come
like
in,
keepsakes. Yeah.
yeah, they come in like a big stack
Oh,
that they're all
interesting.
wrapped up in plastic of these things. I don't know how many are, like 24 or 30 in a
Just
stack. Maybe
request
I
that
need
as
to-
a retirement gift.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Anyway, so that's a good question, Andy. But I guess it's possible for you to buy them and have them and eat them other than on a Acme or a Delta airplane. That's what I've heard anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say that I always, when they come down the aisle and ask if you want a snack and that's the offer, I'll take it because I think they're delicious and it goes really well with coffee.
They really do. Probably good with tea as well.
And surprisingly, okay with beer.
Oh, that is surprising. All right. Well, I guess that's going to end our first segment, our first part of APG 579. And with the magic of podcasting, well, first of all, I'll let Steph say goodbye, and then we'll make the transition to the next crew.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye. And
Bye.
the magic of podcasting. Look who's here. Okay. Or I should say, hear who's here. Okay. There we go. That's the end of part one. And thank you to all of you in the live audience. Not a big, huge audience. I know it was kind of a last minute thing. Liz does such a better job of, putting
Promotion.
out notices, promoting, and letting,
We had, we'll shout out, we had Ben Morose, we had Neil Lanhorn, we had I Haul Boxes briefly.
what up?
Very brief. Super Fred Driver.
Yeah.
And someone
Yeah, he
called
was
the APG show. Don't know
That
who
was me.
is.
I was saying to
No, I said
Super Fred Driver, he was saying, good looking C5 in the background of one of those pictures that David Abbey took. And I was telling him it was out of Travis. And he goes, yep, sure was. He knew. Maybe next year we will get the tail that goes, what? Oh, that was the end of his comment. We'll get the tail that goes to Oshkosh. Okay. Yeah. I think he's in, correct me if I'm wrong, Super Fred. You're at Dover? Anyway, he's going to
We'll see if
probably
he's
come
still
back
there.
with the answer if he's still there. Yeah, thank you for showing up, folks. And I'll try to do a better job of putting out the notices for part two. And it doesn't look like Micah is here.
Oh, yep,
So
there you go, Dover.
Yep, Dover. Yeah, that's what I thought. But I'll have to update the YouTube page for part two. Anybody have any possible titles for this half? Although I have a feeling that since Nick wasn't here, he'll probably favor something that we talk about.
Yeah, that's
in
fine.
the
There wasn't
second part.
anything overly exciting. I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, unless you wanted something about the booty loop.
Oh, that's always a good one. Yeah. Join us on the booty loop.
There you go.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, good idea. Good suggestion.
Mhm.
All right. I know it's getting late. Steph's got to eat and get some
Yes.
sleep.
Yes.
And I do as well. So, and you folks in the live audience need to eat and get some sleep as well. So thank you so much for showing up. Do appreciate it. And we hope to get on a more normal kind of schedule now that July is over with, and August is kind of that transition month where everybody is, if you have kids, are starting to go back to school, and people are starting to get a little bit more serious about things in life. So we're going to get more serious about
August is the serious month. I didn't
APG.
know.
Yeah, well, I've just made it
It's
such.
news to me. We've hereby declared it the serious month.
Yes, the APG has declared. August is the serious month. Anyway, yeah, so I look forward to seeing you all again Saturday morning, Eastern time. And if not, then look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And so we're going to go ahead and say goodbye.
Goodbye.